minute since we've recorded
Mhm.
anything. So
Busy.
we were just, yeah, busy. We've both been busy, and it's that season of life right now. We're in the full swing. I don't know about you, but full swing of like kids and sports and school and work and all that stuff. And like when it's all together, it feels like a hot potato sometimes. We're constantly
Mhm.
trying to figure out who's taking who, where, what, when, all those things. So
Yeah,
it's just the season of life we're in.
it is. Big transition time with it being fall too.
Yesterday was like a blackout for us because we had no internet from about 1 o'clock until I woke up this morning. The internet was back on,
Mm.
but it was kind of like widespread from what I read across several states. That was interesting because it's been a minute since we've had like a total outage like that for an extended period of time
Mhm.
where none of us could use our electronic devices and you, like, couldn't check your email. I could check it obviously once I was out and used data on my phone, but so many people were using data, it was painfully slow. So like I was gardening last night until 9 o'clock p.m., like under the lights, just because I didn't have anything else to do. And um, even the kid, like Jack, was out there with me, but it was kind of nice
Yeah.
also just to have a break from the constant dopamine hit that is social media. Because
Mhm.
I fall victim to it just like everybody else. And once you get scrolling, it's really hard to stop scrolling.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, like the algorithm has me figured out uh,
Mhm.
to a really annoying point. So now I purposefully am not watching things that I would have maybe previously watched, or just like I did a real housekeeping about a week ago of like anything political, whether it was something I agreed with or not. I just started to like clear it out because it was just feeding this echo chamber that I couldn't get out of.
Mhm.
And it was really affecting my mood. And I mean, hell, I don't need anything else to affect my mood at this point. Like, these hormones are out of control. So yeah, I had to do some self-preservation recently and just kind
Mm.
of clean house.
Did it work?
Yeah. And just also just again being more mindful. Like I bought a book, like one that,
Mhm.
not on my Kindle, like an actual paper copy, and just reading
Mhm.
again at night, like trying to find other ways to stay off
Yeah.
my phone for lots of reasons. Um
Mhm.
And so, yeah, is it just that that's helped? But no, I mean, I don't know, but the combination of like just spending less time on my phone, not
Mhm.
watching everything. Like I said, even if I agree with it, like it can get
Yeah.
me so riled up, especially if I'm already in a mood, and I
Mhm.
don't need that. And you think about like people that think differently from you, right? People on the other
Mhm.
side of the spectrum, they're getting that same thing, but on the other side of the spectrum. And I was like, at some point, like we are all just gonna have to put our phones away and start making decisions for ourselves and making
Right.
our own conscious belief systems again, because it
Mhm.
is so, and I would say that on both sides, like it's so extreme. It's really hard. And we're not a political show by any means, but if politics is not affecting your mental health right now, then you are living under a rock or purposefully
Right.
not paying attention to it, which some people are choosing to do that as well. I'm not going to criticize
Mhm.
that, but it is a volatile
Yeah.
situation in this country right now. And it's hard not
It
to be
is.
affected by it. I don't care which way you lean.
Mhm. Mhm. No, and I think the word that keeps coming up for me is it's just so toxifying. It's like a radioactive toxin that's just
Mhm.
coming through the
Mhm.
waves of our phones, our computers, our televisions that we may not be so aware of how toxifying it is to our body's system just in terms of its functioning, but it
Yeah.
100% is. Like anytime we go in for an x-ray, I'm not feeling those rays, like I'm not feeling that that
Mhm.
could be something that is troubling to me. Um,
Yeah.
but that I think is what's happening whenever we're constantly being exposed to that type of um toxic algorithm that kinda comes through, and we're the ones that set it, and we do it unintentionally. I mean, every
Absolutely.
person, I buy things because I like them, That's
Yeah.
human nature, you know? We watch things because we like them. But the problem, I think, has started to become that whenever that's your only filter. And so,
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm going to the grocery store, I'm gonna see a whole bunch of different types of cleaning products, and I might look at a few of them. I might default back to the one I always get, but at least I'm looking at other things. And
Yeah.
our lifestyle with social media, news, whatever, has become that we're not even seeing other things anymore. We're just seeing the
Mhm.
one thing, and then that just grows even stronger. And whenever that happens, polarity is created. And I just, there's never been an example that I'm aware of in like human history where that has ever like turned out favorably. It always turns out
Right.
more than everybody comes together. So if that's what's getting ready to happen, then God bless. But
Yeah.
ugh, we're in control. So hopefully we make better decisions about it. But geez, no, I agree. It's rough.
It's rough, and like
Mm-hmm.
I was kinda sharing with you beforehand, like, I'm already struggling to manage
Mm-hmm.
my emotions most days, not always, but, like, just the uptick in symptoms I feel like I'm experiencing lately. I don't need anything else, like, feeding, uh, my mental health in a negative way, and so it also gives you a little perspective too about how like kids watching YouTube, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an algorithm that keeps it's that dopamine hit. It's that, anytime I would put my phone down, I started to notice like, I just feel or like angry or, all these things. And like gives you that perspective of same things when, you ask your kids to get off YouTube or whatever whatever they're watching and they're
Mm-hmm.
like frustrated, you're like, oh, that's the same feelings that I have when I'm being
Mm-hmm.
fed by an algorithm. So it just like kind of gives a whole perspective. And we talk a lot in this family about, you know, putting our phones down. My kids are real quick to call us out when like, we can't have technology during the week. Why can you all stare at your phones? And like, valid point, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so just trying to be more mindful and also being like, oh yeah, now I see why you're a turd when I ask you to get off your iPad. Like you're feel like I feel that way. I'm a turd
Mm-hmm.
when I get off my phone some days if I've been, doom scrolling.
Yeah.
Um, so
I know. And I think we noticed this the other day. For whatever reason, we turned on like the evening news in our house, and
mm,
we never watched the evening news, but I remember as a child, we always watched the evening news. And I remember back then the main difference that you had to make in watching, like, the cable evening news was Dan Rather Your Guy or was it Tom Brokaw? But it didn't
right.
matter because the news was the same on both stations.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
just the style in which it wasn't even the accuracy, it was the style in which they reported it because what we had at that point in time was reliability between
Yeah.
news stories. So, you know what I mean? You could put it on whatever that was, like CBS
Right.
or NBC, and we're getting the same
Yeah.
story. We're just
Sure.
we like one guy better or differently than the other, but there's not even that kind of congruence anymore whenever it comes to,
Mm-mm.
like, the news media, and so we don't even watch it, and even when I was practicing clinically, I would have so many patients that would come in and be upset about this thing or the other thing or wondering how it was going to affect them. And that did feed a cyclic nature of just worry about things that are outside of your control or the what ifs. And it was just to a point where I was like, this is not effective. You can make the
Yeah.
decision to or not do this, but it's not helping. And so I would suggest not at this point because I don't know what we get from it anymore except more confusion and negativity. Like,
Right. And fear. And fear.
right.
Right? I mean, it breeds that
Mm-hmm.
fear of like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna happen. Oh my gosh, now how's this gonna affect this person I care about or
Right.
whatever, at the state I live in." So, yeah, I think just the fear that comes with it. There's no there's no manual for this as an adult, as a parent of, you know, even like trying to explain things to my kids, like I really struggle with that because I don't want to I don't want them to grow up being like, "Well, I'm blank, I'm
Mhm,
conservative, or I'm liberal because that's what my parents were." I mean, that's very much
mhm,
how our generation was, right? If you would have asked me when I was 18, well, I registered Republican because that's what everybody I knew was,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Um, And so, like, I don't I want them to form their own ideas and have their own, opinions, and so I'm
Mhm.
pretty careful, somewhat careful about
Mhm.
what I share with them, but there is no playbook for this, and I think that's part of it too, and why I was like, "All right, I need to take a step back from this because,
Mhm.
I'm pissed about this or that, and now I'm driving my kid to football and he's asking while I'm pissed, but I don't really know how to explain it to a 10-year-old." Like, it's those kinds of moments where I'm like, "Okay, it's time
Yeah.
to take a pause for the cause here." I wish some days I could just like totally get off social media, but that's just not gonna happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
It does make me just take a second to go,
Mhm.
okay, this probably isn't great for my own well being.
No, it's definitely not, and I think that's what I mean, that's what it comes down to is really recognizing whenever something even as small as seeing a 30-second reel has a
Hmm.
25-minute effect on you and your mood, which then trickles down to everything
Yes.
else, and now the evening is just kind of ruined, and everybody's like, "Well, where did this thing get sidetracked?" And we always
Hmm.
wanna put it on an external factor like, "Well, this person was driving so slow in front of me," or whatever else instead of what the thing that we like is. Whenever
Yeah.
that's the problem, and we all have that tendency whenever we like doing something, that's not the problem because we like doing it whenever actually it is a significant problem, I think, for a lot of us, and it's so accessible
Yep.
and so
I love the way you
entertaining,
said that.
you know?
Right. It's the
Ugh.
entertainment factor. They get sucked right in. Like, I like these people, and most of them, I'm agreeing with them. That's why I'm getting more videos and things like that popping up on my feed, and
Mhm.
then it's just like, blah, by the end of it, you're like, "I
Yeah.
can't take it anymore."
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
made me think, going back to when we did that meditation retreat, one of the things that we
Mm.
were taught was about, like, transitioning to different parts of your day. So, like, transitioning from, like, your morning routine to your work, and transitioning from your work to your evening routine, and so that may be something else I reconsider, is like that transition from work to my evening, because that to me seems to be like my toughest time. That's when I'll like scroll while the kids are having
Mhm.
like their snack or whatever. We're getting ready, or if they're at their, um, sport of the evening. That's when I tend to doom scroll, like sitting there waiting. And so maybe getting back to like that transition. I love the idea of like, I do my morning meditation, but maybe that's a good time to practice like an evening meditation.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
have been better about taking my book everywhere with me, so I have been reading a little bit more, but I can get so sucked into my phone so quickly of
That's a
transition.
great idea. I like that you went to a book too because I think you're right. We think you could have got that text on a Kindle, but that's still
Sure.
just gonna feed a machine. So, going
Right.
into an actual store, buying the book that you've heard so much about, putting that in your hands, it has so many different sensory components to it, that have benefit to us. I mean, hey, you're not subjecting yourself to artificial light coming through something. You know what I mean? Even if it is a Kindle,
Mhm.
it's still affecting your melatonin levels within your brain. So,
Sure.
a paper page ain't doing that. And it's giving you something
Right.
tactile. It has a certain smell to it. I mean, all the things just fire different neural networks within your brain that helps to get you more engaged. And that's why reconnecting with that stuff can be so good. Like, uh, Rachel has a little book she's started reading, and she just carries it around with her, like, all the
Mhm.
time, and that's what
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't have electronics in her room or anything like that, but we gave her I mean, she's been taking this little book with her, and that's
Yeah.
better, than,
Right.
um, those other things. She enjoys it, so there we go, but it's hard to kind of find that and then to transition to it. My algorithm is so silly, and it has nothing to do with things that I mean, I don't bake.
Mm.
How many reels come across my thing about making cakes?
Mm.
Now, I
'Cause you
do like the
must
Great
watch
British
them.
Baking Show. I
Well,
love
there
the
you go.
Great British Baking Show. But I watched
Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch much TV, but I watch a lot of British TV, and,
Yeah.
that is, like, my favorite thing to, like, sit and watch on are cooking shows, but I mean, I see tons. I have a great idea in my head that I can make a rose on a cake. Is that ever gonna come to
Never. I don't
fruition?
know, you might, but
No.
you don't eat cake, so I doubt you're gonna
No, so
make
what's
it.
the point?
Right?
Right, so what's the point? Right, right, so I mean, that's what mine is, and then I've been following this little pygmy hippo named Mars. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
This is what comes up on my stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get much deeper than that. But where I do fall into like the prey zone is my news app.
Yeah.
So again, grow up journalistic kind of family. What's the news? What's going on in the world? And then I know that whenever I look at that, that's that's the trap,
Yeah.
because then I'm just going to follow that app to what other stories it has about things. And so I
Sure.
made a decision the other day. I noticed I was looking at that app and I was just whatever thinking about the world. And I was like, I don't need to do this. I think the best
Yeah.
way for me to make a judgment about what's happening in the world is to focus on the one that I'm in. Like the one
Mhm.
that I'm in driving down the street. And I
Right.
don't think I'm not taking like a egocentric or a cultural centric kind of view of that because I also go to these other places and I see what's happening. Like, I've been to Chicago. I go to Chicago all the time. I go to Memphis. I go to, wherever else, San Francisco.
Yeah.
I've been to Qatar. All these places where some of this stuff is happening at, I've had my own world experience there, which has served as my education about what's going on instead of me having to be fed by somebody else or by an AI system that's picking up on something that I may be interested in. And so that's my
Yeah.
new shift is what I'm focused on. What is my experience of the world? And that is serving as my education
I'm
for
loving that.
myself and for my kids or anybody else.
Less time in on the internet is better for all of us and probably the sake of the world. Although there's some good stuff on there too. So that's
Yeah.
starting to feed my algorithm too. It knows that I want to see like happy stuff. And so I've noticed a
Mhm.
lot more of that lately, but it just goes back to like some self-awareness and really looking at, okay, if I was in a pissy mood for the last 3 days, like what contributed to that and starting to
Mhm.
like pay attention to your moods and what's affecting you. But that
Especially when they're
takes
so
some
sensitive. Yeah.
self-awareness. Yeah,
Yeah. Especially when they're
when
so sensitive right now. Mm.
absolutely. Like the other night, I've been
Um,
walking a lot at night recently, and the other night I
yeah.
was just
Mhm.
like boohooing out of nowhere. I was like, "Well, thank God it's pitch black and no one can see me." And I turn a corner and like there's my neighbor walking towards me. I'm like, "Damn it!" Um, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Like just switching things up, trying to do like last night. I was like gardening
Yeah.
because just trying to like do things that make you happy. Going back
Mhm.
to what you know is always going to put you in a good mood.
Yeah. And I'd say there's a difference between happiness and excitatory agitation, which is,
Yes.
sometimes we get really excited whenever we watch something that, is emotionally stimulating, but then that fuels a negative vibe or emotion or just sense about us that again can just emanate that radiation, that toxicity off of us. And so, no,
Mhm.
it's really, really, really tough. But I do think we've said this before, whatever behavior you pay attention to is the one that gets displayed over and over again, whether that's a positive or a
Mhm.
negative. And technically, we are displaying a behavior by choosing what we watch on our phones, on our televisions, on our computers. And so if
What
we
we
want
listen
that to
to.
change, yeah, if we want that to change, we have to be the active ones to make that rhythm change. And
Yeah.
so,
What we consume is so much more than just food. And it's,
yeah,
well, I strongly believe what we consume food wise also affects us. I think
100%.
that, all the other information that we consume also has that impact on us.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I certainly feel like I've been very, I make myself sound crazy on here. I mean, I guess I am a little crazy, but um, aren't we all? But
Aren't we all?
truly, like just for me, this past month has been harder than most. And I don't have like, we're not dealing with a major health issue. We're not, you know what I mean? We don't have financial stress. Like, it's not like anything I can pinpoint, which is why I knew it had something to do with like me,
Mm,
something I needed
mhm,
to change.
mhm.
Because I didn't have a reason necessarily to be pissed off or stressed out. Um, other than we were remodeling, but like you know what I mean? Like even to that didn't call for some of like my reactions to things.
Sure.
And
Mhm,
that's hard to admit sometimes to be like, oh no,
mhm.
freaking overreacted. My husband gives me this look, like, when I know I'm overreacting,
Mhm.
or if I don't know in the moment, he can give me this look, and I'm like, "Mm, I'm overreacting." Because he doesn't do it often, and,
Mhm.
99.9% of the time, I've gone back and been like, "Yeah, you're right, I was overreacting."
Yeah.
But if you don't have somebody that mirror to hold up to you to be like, "Hey, this isn't typically how you would respond to something like this."
Mhm.
I think it makes it
Mhm.
a little bit harder to have some self-awareness, but certainly if
Tough.
you do, give them some grace. Don't don't bite their head off, uh,
Mhm.
for showing you a mirror and saying, "Hey, you all right? You doing okay?
We a little
'Cause
testing
I
right
don't
now,
think you
maybe?
are." Yeah.
You
"Can
need
I
a
get you
break?
something?"
Yeah, seriously. Sometimes that's all's needed is I just need a break. I
Mhm.
cannot engage in this right now because I'm at my limit. And so a peaceful break is not I'm not abandoning the situation. It's just I need a break from the situation because my coping at this moment is not going to be optimal, you know? That's what I've just
Right.
been like, I need a break. I need a break. It's time out.
I needed a
Time out
break
time.
from all the mess that comes with construction, and I really lost
Ugh.
it one day, and my husband was just like, "Dude, like, you wanted this." And I'm like, "I know I did, but, like, I didn't wanna live in it at the same time," you know?
Mhm.
It's hard. I was
Mhm.
displaced from my office, like, you're trying to work, you got contractors coming in and out, it's loud, all the things, and I had had it one day. Um, but, you know
Yes.
luckily, it's all done, and just
Mhm.
another reminder, like, just push through. Once you get to the other side, I'm like, "Yeah, now it's really nice. I'm really glad we did that." It all starts out so hopeful, right? You open up that app, you're sucked in, you see something cute, you see something funny, you send it on, before you know it, you've doom scrolled for an hour, you're pissed at the world, you hate everything about like, it turns so quickly, which again, I
Mhm.
think is such a great reminder to just be mindful of what you're consuming,
Yeah.
even if it's, even if it starts out good and with the best
Mhm.
intentions. Man,
Yeah.
can it take a turn to negative town real quick.
100%. And with our kids, especially if they're young kids, like how our younger kids are, they're enjoying what they're doing online. I don't think she's sitting
Yeah.
there looking at like what's going on in, I don't know, Ukraine or Russia or
Right.
you pick, you know what I mean?
No, they're watching, like, cat videos and stupid shit
Right.
like that.
But
For
homegirl's gonna
sure.
be pissed whenever I tell her to get off or like, "Hey, let's put
For
the phone
sure.
down for a little bit," you know?
Right.
And she's having a great time in her head. And I've just come around and been like, "I'm taking your candy out of your hand." And so we gotta be aware of that too. Like
Exactly.
that just and they don't have the emotional development or capacity to even understand that. We think that they are mature enough to have these items,
Right.
but they're not mature enough to understand the let go process. How do I know that? Because we're not, right?
Or even
So
just, like, it is
there.
truly like their brain has just had, like,
Yep.
dopamine hit after dopamine hit, and then you take that away and you're like, "Okay, go outside and play." It's no different. I don't know about you, but, like, if I've just sat in my car and doom scrolled for an hour and now I gotta go stand and watch a football game or
Mm,
watch, anything, I'm like, "Well, this is boring, like, how do I get my phone back?" Like, it's the same thing, like,
yeah.
our brains cannot, or we have, conditioned it
Mhm.
to expect, like, a constant hit, um, and the real world just doesn't provide that, you know? It's
Well, it's
boring
hard for us
AF to
to
watch 9 and 10-year-olds throw a football.
it's very
It really
rough.
is.
It's
It's
very rough.
rough.
I'm not thank well, we've talked about this before. I was not a person that could sit around and watch practices. I'm still not that
Yeah.
parent. I can't watch a practice. So I'm now rock climbing or I'm running or doing something. I can watch a game most of the time. I have to walk around or
Yeah.
move around consistently. But it's tough. It's and we got to yeah,
I
our
can watch a
minds and
game if
brains.
that's like, like if we got a soccer game in the morning, cool, I can handle that. I'm all in. But it's like when I've gone to
Oh,
gymnastics and then to soccer practice and now I got to go watch a football game. It's like, blah, like this is
yeah.
torture.
After
Um,
working or after cleaning house all
right after
day.
you've worked all day and like you've been up since 5 a.m., like all the things. But even still, like
Mhm.
it's just, it's hard because you're not getting, I'm like, I just want to sit here and do what I want to do, even if that's just like read a book. Um, But keep reminding myself they're only little once. I'm going to miss these days. I know I am. I think about that every morning when I'm packing lunches, begrudgingly. I'm like, one day I'm going to miss this, but I got nobody to pack a lunch for. And that's
Well,
just the
maybe.
thing. We got to
Yeah.
keep reminding ourselves like what's really important in life.
Yeah.
It is not what you see on social media for the most part.
Your algorithm's feeding you guys. Hopefully, it's feeding you this podcast because we're pretty positive and uplifting. So, I mean, if we're going to take a spin on it, here we are. Keep this one on your algorithm,
That's
but
right.
trash the other crap.
If you are doom scrolling, check us out on Instagram or Facebook at the Lilas Podcast. Check out our website. You can chat with us on our website. You can send us text messages that come directly to Sarah. Give us some
Uh-huh.
topic ideas. Guys, we're rolling up on 100 episodes. Can't believe it. If you've been here
God,
from
yes.
episode one, if you've been here since last, if this is your first one, thanks for being here. We appreciate
Yes.
you. We want to hear from you. So
Hmm.
let us know.
That's
Until
it.
next week,
Gosh.
y'all. Lilas.
We're out.